welcome back to the Tarot Cottage. My name is Amy. I'm back today with a pick a card reading for you all. Welcome to my beautiful returning subscribers. A big congratulations to this week's winner of the free tarot reading. Be sure to drop your comment below any of my readings this week. Be sure you're subscribed. Be sure that you hit your notification bell as well so that I can enter you in for a chance to win. I would love to read for you. And if you have found yourself here for the very first time, we would like to invite you to also join our beautiful soul family here by subscribing to the channel. And be sure to hit your notification bell and drop your comment below as well. You never know when lightning could strike. I will notify you below your comment and give you instructions on how to connect with me. So please subscribe to the channel, hit your notification bell, all the buttons. That helps me to bring you guys more content, and be sure to drop that comment so that I can enter you in for your chance to win. If you are here for the very first time, welcome. I do pick a card readings on this channel, so please get cozy, pull up a chair, and we're all going to have a little chat because we're all friends when we gather here together. For today's pick a card topic, it was actually suggested in the comment section, and we're going to do late night thoughts of you. So the person on your mind, what are their thoughts of you when they're by themselves, when they have nothing else going on, when it's late at night? What are some of the thoughts that they're having about you and this connection? We have 3 piles to choose from today, and this is from the Magdalene Oracle that I'm using today. But we have pile number 1 with this peach colored, I think it's a peony of some kind. I don't know what kind of flower it's supposed to be. Pile number 2 with the pink rose. And pile number 3 with the pink poppy. So whichever pile or piles are calling out to you, there may be a message waiting today from Spirit. I'm going to jump right into pile number 1. Again, today we're looking at their late night thoughts of you. Pile 1. Hello, pile number 1. You were drawn to the big, beautiful peony here. And you were drawn to the Purgatory card. And this is your reading. What is your person's late night thoughts of you? Now, the Purgatory card, first of all, Purgatory really speaks to Catholicism, so there could be a connection there, so please take that as it resonates to your situation. But Purgatory in general is all about purging us of attachments, purging us of sin, purging ourselves of connections sometimes. So you may feel like you're being punished in some way in this connection. This person feels like they're being kind of punished in a way because they feel really connected to you. It's like they can't access you. And so they feel like they're suffering. This card talks a lot about emotional ups and downs and about the healing process too, because this person perhaps is really reflecting a lot about you lately, especially at night. And so they're working through these thoughts. The reason why these thoughts are being brought into their awareness is so that they can hopefully heal from some of the pain, because even, you know, Purgatory is supposed to, it's touted as this gift to us. In the Catholic religion, it's touted as this gift to us. But the truth is that it's a painful process. You know, it's a painful process being purged through fire, through the desire that they have of you. It's like they can't access you. They're so close yet so far away to what they want in this connection. But let's take a look here and see. I'm going to be using the Angel Tarot for you today. What are their late night thoughts, please, of pile number 1? What do they think about late at night when it comes to pile number 1, please? You have the High Priestess. So at night, it's when they're willing to be more honest with themselves about the truth of your connection. I feel like they have suppressed a lot of how they feel below the surface. It's like they've tried to cram all of the thoughts of you as far away from their mind in the past as possible. But all that's done is created this backlog now of emotional purging, truly. And so they've been spending a lot of times, perhaps even dreaming about you, but thinking about you late at night because everything else shuts down. The distractions are minimized. And so what they're really focusing upon is trying to escape this purge, trying to escape this feeling, because it's starting to become difficult. There's an aspect of them doing this alone as well, feeling really isolated and lonely, and you still represent this temptation that they can't seem to shake. And so there's this addictive quality to the thoughts that they have of you as well. The Death energy is really highlighting how they want to close out that chapter of pain. Not that they would want to close out the chapter of you, but it's painful. You have the 7 of Swords reversed. And as I said, you're some sort of temptation to this person, and that could be why they feel like they're being punished. They may not feel really satisfied in their life. They're not feeling very satisfied, and they grapple with that in the evenings when it comes to your connection. The reason why they have to suppress how they feel is because they don't want to be caught in their emotions. And they spent, it's like they've made a career out of minimizing how they felt for you. But at night, when everything shuts down and the world turns off, it's like they can't help but see everything mirrored right back at them in a truthful energy. It's like they're forced to be honest with themselves in that reflection. But they're afraid to sort of be caught for their emotions. So it's a lonely battle. What are their late night thoughts, please? We have the World. I will say that Spirit says that it's not just thoughts that they really focus on late at night. They also, sometimes these thoughts provide this impulse to kind of check in on you as well. There is an aspect of online energy here. And so at night, they do spend some time researching or Googling or trying to creep Facebook accounts. We have the Page of Wands. Back of the deck is the Eight of Cups. And we have the Nine of Pentacles. Now, the Nine of Pentacles can indicate that this person has actually moved into a more of a really strong, secure cycle. They may be in a commitment. They may be focused on coin and focused on their job and really gaining a lot of momentum in their career as well. Because the Nine of Pentacles is someone who is envied for their position. Other people would look through their window and say, I want that. So they're not, but there's something about their environment that they grapple with because they're talking about being unfulfilled. When they're thinking about you late at night, it leads to dissatisfaction in their realm, in the choices that they've made. And they think about those choices. They think about walking away from you and not perhaps taking action when they should have. And it's almost like they worry that they're being punished in some type of way. But truthfully, it's like they're punishing themselves with all of this thought. It's like they are tempting themselves by watching you online. They're very curious about what you're up to, and that curiosity leads to them creating this cycle of dissatisfaction for themselves because they get curious, they look online, they see your position. You may be the one that's moved into a really strong, solid foundation, or at least you're projecting that. And so their late night thoughts around you are a little bit, it almost feels like they're torturing themselves a little bit. You have the Nine of Wands. And look at there's pain. He's bandaged up. There's exhaustion as well. Because they really think about how long they've been waiting or how long they've been feeling this way. And they are struggling with that. It's like they can only ignore their feelings for you for so long. And I feel like they've spent some time trying to armor themselves up against that emotion, trying to armor themselves up against thoughts of you. They've really spent time at night thinking about, okay, how can I feel better? How can I detach from this? How can this not have a hold over me? But they're also think about letting you go, and that fills them with some sort of dread. Thinking of you not having some sort of attachment to you in some sort of way fills them with dread. And this is the Hermit. This is the Hermit that retreats in the evenings with his lantern lit, isolated, alone, quiet reflection. And it's during these moments where they allow themselves to be honest and truthful. They keep it to themselves, so it's a very lonely experience. They keep it to themselves, but they allow themselves to be honest about you. And when they think about any sort of action that they can take to create change, they're really overwhelmed by the practical steps that they're going to have to take. And so they inch forward. And the very first step for them is to watch you, to just keep an eye on you online. Because they wonder in these late night thoughts whether or not you've moved forward into a new cycle, whether you're actually fulfilled or whether you're just feigning that online. Because they are having a lot of closure issues. And because the Six of Swords is here, it really tells me that the turbulence of this water, that's what they're in. And they really think about everything that they didn't reveal to you or to themselves. Because there's this fear of like, if I start to take out my truths now, I'm not going to make it to that shore. I'm not going to make it to clarity. I'm not going to make it to release or peace if I pull out my swords now. Because the truth is that they're afraid of opening up a floodgate. They're afraid of reaching out to you. They're afraid of fueling their curiosity towards you because they're afraid of themselves. They're afraid of what they'll do or the consequences of their own action. And so they feel like it's too late. There's the World, and there's the Three of Pentacles. They do think about you in terms of wanting you to be happy and fulfilled. But sometimes when they think about you being happy and fulfilled, that does fill them with jealousy. It fills them with a certain amount of remorse because they feel like there's unfinished business. with you. And because this unfinished business surrounds you, they feel like they can't move forward into other emotionally fulfilling situations, or even give themselves over to other situations emotionally until they clear out that cycle. But they don't know how to do it. And that's the issue, is they don't know how to clear out that cycle. It's like they feel like they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. What are their late night thoughts, please, of pile number 1? We have the Lion Spirit, be generous of spirit, Leo energy. And there's almost an aspect of them feeling like they're sacrificing for you by not taking action, especially if they're privy to your situation. They also think about you in the aspect of friendship and missing a friend. So I don't know if this started in friendship, but missing you, even just as a friend, missing you in the capacity of which they knew you in the past. And a lot of their thoughts sometimes circulate around the frustration that they feel within themselves. Like they feel really frustrated with themselves. It's like they're punishing themselves. They put themselves into the state of purgatory because they say, let spirit be your guide, the hawk. And I think about strength and endurance. It's number 32, which is it breaks down to a 5, which is the loss, the separation, the remorse of losing you, the regret that they feel for not taking some sort of action towards you, or if they did take action, not enough action. And that's the lesson, the big lesson that they've learned, is that I need to follow my intuition. I need to push myself out of my comfort zone. Back of the deck says, skunk spirit, know your worth. And there is this aspect with the 9 of Wands, but the 9 here with the Hermit, about them just holding on and going through this journey as this independent spirit and feeling isolated and lonely because they want you by their side. And they're acknowledging that this period of time is not satisfying, the state of purgatory that they're in, where they can't see you, where they can't talk to you. It stinks. It stinks. And they feel like there's not a lot that they can do about it. I feel like there is steps that they can take to create clarity, but they feel like that's too risky at this time. What are their late night thoughts, please, of pile number 1? We have the ghost. You are the ghost that haunts them. Back of the deck is the community, because they do think about reunions and they do think about what they've invested in and the success that they've seen in life. You've both seen success. And again, they can see you. There's something about them watching you online. They see the foundations that you've built. They see what you've built for yourself, whether it be in career, whether it be in family. They see you. And so it's not so much that you're the ghost that haunts them. They are creating a ghost out of this connection. They're creating that because they keep this persistence of thought, this isolation energy. And so they're keeping this karmic loop going. Let's get some message cards here. What are their late night thoughts, please, of pile number 1? They really just wish that they had fought harder for this connection. Because they're frustrated with themselves. They're so mad that they didn't just take the effort or make the effort when they were guided to, because now they fantasize about you. They feel like they're just stuck in a perpetual fantasy that they're afraid to get caught for. There's a past life connection here. So in this lifetime, but perhaps other lifetimes as well. It's like a recognition. The distance between us is killing me. So feeling very physically disconnected from you as well. And absence has just made the heart grow fonder for this person. I feel stuck. But there's an emphasis on the feeling there, because we're never actually stuck. They're just feeling that way. You send to me mixed signals. And so they are indicating that they think about the cat and mouse game between the two of you late at night as well. They think about all of the opportunities that you both had to both act, and they are frustrated with the lack of effort from both energies. Because the truth is that I want to see you again. Let's get a couple of more message cards here from the Hermit Tarot. What are their late night thoughts, please, of pile number 1? I think we should see other people. It's not even a thought. I think there could be other people. And I'm terrified. I also saw they are waiting for you. They are terrified to come forward, even though they'd love to see you again. And I feel like they were terrified in the past, but they've made a bit of a habit out of overthinking. Love is the answer. And I would do anything for you. And that's really the epiphany that they've had. And I don't even feel like it was an epiphany. I feel like they almost knew that when you walked away from the connection. And it says, be more selfish, reversed. And that's the thing, is that the Page of Wands wants to go exploring, but they feel like it would impede on you or impede on their situation. And they feel like it would be a very selfish act. But they wish that they could. Because the truth is that their late night thoughts around you surround love and the unfinished business. And the fact that they didn't tell you that this is how they felt, that you are so very special. And they may feel like they've left you with the opinion or it's like they feel like they've left you with the impression that they didn't care. When the truth is that they're suffering now. They're like, I'm getting my just rewards. And they're not pleasant. Let's get a charm bowl, please, for pile number 1. What was the last late night thought that pile 1's person had about them in the bowl today? The King of Cups, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, the Knight of Cups reversed, the King of Pentacles, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, the Three of Swords reversed. Oh, they really want to almost apologize, have this recovery. It's like their position, I feel like, is getting in the way. Though there's an aspect of even fatherhood coming forward, so take that as it resonates to your situation. When they think about reaching out to you, their ego tells them that it's unrealistic to think that you feel the same way. And so their late night thoughts grapple. It's like an argument between their higher self and their ego late at night. It's like they're it's like they're the little kid watching the argument between the two parents, looking back and forth, because the higher self will say, you know, turn around and face that emotion so that you can actually purge it out. And the ego will say, no, it's unrealistic for you to do that. Don't seek clarity. Don't seek more. But it's like they want forgiveness from you for some reason, for lack of effort, for any time they made you feel like they didn't care. We have the letters J and R, Junior. So I think of children, but also could be initials. We have here the Red Cross. I often think of Temperance with that energy because I have a card that has the snakes wrapped around. And so there's this feeling of longevity, of not seeing you for a really long time. We have a wrench in our plans and the ice pick. They are intimidated by you and by what you're going to say, and I feel like they're almost hoping that if there's going to be any sort of movement, you might reach out. We have secret and we have run. And we have the Seven of Wands. Obstacles getting in the way of this bird of flight. Obstacles, but they're not insurmountable. They could actually be a family unit or some sort of investment, because we have the Tree of Life reversed, so somebody could be worried about foreclosures or things moving in the practical realm. Oh, we have one more playing card. The Three of Swords. So there could be third party, but there's also so much disappointment and sadness associated with how they feel and their late night thoughts. That's why perhaps you were drawn to the purgatory energy, because they're just trying to purge that out. All right, pile 1, that's what I have for you today. I hope that it resonates with you. If it did, I would love to hear your story below in the comments section, and I would love for you to subscribe to the channel, hit your notification bell, your like button. It helps me to bring you more content. And as a thank you, I do offer a chance to win a free tarot reading for anyone who does drop a comment below my videos if you're subscribed to the channel. So be sure to do that. You can also check out my links below for Etsy for a personal reading, or for Instagram, where I offer a chance to win a free mini read on occasion. But I hope that you come and visit me on another day at the Tarot Cottage, and I hope you have a great day. Hello, pile number 2. You were drawn to the Pink Rose, or you were drawn to the Sacred Sexuality card, and this is your reading. What is your person's late night thoughts of you? Now, this card speaks to a lot of fiery energy during their late night thoughts of you, but this card specifically talks about how connection in this, and I'm trying to keep my language kind of PG so that I don't get flagged by YouTube. But this type of connection, sexual energy, is actually a really profound mode of connection that's misused a lot of times in the world, unfortunately. But a lot of their thoughts surrounding this connection definitely lead to fire at night when they're thinking about you. But it's deeper than that. Their feelings for you is deeper than that. And there's this aspect of feeling safe exploring thoughts of you in this realm, but not necessarily feeling safe really diving deeper and deeper into the connection as to why does this spark exist in the first place, because this is not just a spark between any two people. This is a divine spark. And so their thoughts may be very fiery, but it could be a distraction. They could be distracting or using those thoughts as a distraction from really digging deeper into the connection, because it's the merging of two people. So let's take a look at their late night thoughts, please, of pile number 2. What are they thinking about when it comes to pile number 2 late at night? The World. And you can see it's like heavy. The world is on their shoulders. There's a child sitting on top of it. So children could be a factor in their life at this time as well. But this also speaks to sort of a coming of age energy. They're really thinking about coming of age with you, or a period of time when they weren't experiencing such heavy burdens on their shoulders. That's why they use you as, and these thoughts of you, as a little bit of an escapism, to be honest, because they feel the weight of the world on their shoulders throughout the day. And so at night when they're thinking about you, that's an escapism to a wonderful place. To a place where there's freedom, to a place where there's solutions, to a place where there's fulfillment, and they may not be experiencing that right now. They also feel like there's a lot of unfinished business between the two of you. And here on the back of the deck is the King of Wands. And look at this King. That lantern is still lit. The King of Wands is very focused. So the focus that they have is definitely on fire when it comes to thoughts of you at night. We have the 8 of Cups. And you can notice in this card, 2 people are wearing masks, and the Divine Masculine is not wearing the mask. And so there's dissatisfaction surrounding the 8 of Cups. It's like moving away from something that's not fulfilling me anymore. And so when they are trying to mask their dissatisfaction in life, their thoughts go to you. Because I feel like they've moved into a commitment cycle. They've moved into something that they feel like they have a lot of responsibility. And it's not really as fulfilling as they thought that it would be, to be honest. It definitely doesn't feel as fulfilling as this spark between the two of you. And so they like to focus on that spark, to perhaps distract themselves from how burdened they're feeling, how overwhelmed they're feeling at times. They also wonder if you're satisfied with the choices that you've made. It's like, am I carrying this burden by myself? We have the Death. We have the 4 of Pentacles. And this person, they do have a concern for what they've invested in, or their practical realm. This can be home or work. They have a concern about that because this feeling of unfinished business that they have, they know, it's like they know what they feel for you. They know what they want. And so these late night thoughts, all they do is just fuel that truth, fuel that purpose. And the reality, as I said, it's not all about fire, because ultimately they think about the fire and they think about executing it. But if they do, they think about the consequences too. Because it's almost greedy energy. They're very invested in you, invested in the thoughts of you, but they're also invested elsewhere. And you'll look at the goats here. I just heard the greatest of all time. It's like you were the greatest of all time. But they didn't come to that conclusion until they had already moved into another cycle. And they may have required the experiences in that other cycle to be able to realize these feelings, to realize the truth of that connection. Back of the deck is already 3 of Wands. And look at her. She's entertaining many gentlemen. And so there's an aspect of jealousy surrounding you too. They fantasize about you, and they fantasize about you choosing them over others. Perhaps because, again, they perhaps chose someone else, and so they fantasize about the opposite, about sort of shifting gears drastically, an overcorrection, because their fantasies surround you choosing them over other people, and you being the person that sort of executes change. We have the Justice and we have the Ace of Swords. And you look at the Justice, she's wearing the blinders on, she has the mask on, and on her scale is a hat, and I'm trying to see my eyes, and a bouquet of flowers. And the bouquet of flowers is all about those renewals and romances, and the hat is complacency and status. And it's like, I can't have both, and that's the harsh truth. And that's why the rose is blue, because the harsh truth here is that they can't have it all, and they want it all. Here's the Star, and there's the Queen of Swords. There's an emphasis on Aquarius and Libra energy here today. I'm going to get a separate deck to clarify this message. So the sexualized energy, the thoughts towards you are just a vehicle a vehicle for them to start to reflect upon the actual practical steps that they can make. But they still do try to avoid that emotional feeling, the emotional truths. So their thoughts start in fire, and then they move to the practical realm and about the consequences of that fire. And there's a sort of a, you can see that the sword has blood on it. The rose is being cut off because there's a stinging energy to that reality, to that fear of where this connection takes us. You have the Two of Cups. Because their late night thoughts surround the fantasy of the two of you being together and building a life together. And it does surround sort of scenarios that they fuel at themselves. So it's not just late night thoughts, but it's late night fantasies towards you, because they start in the fantasy realm and then they move to practicalities, because they fantasize about what it would be like to be next to you as a partner. And then they get snapped into reality when they take that mask off, or when they allow some truth to trickle in. There's this frustrating energy that they're still holding on, and it's a revelation of like, I'm still holding on to this connection. And it's almost like they're waiting for something, waiting for a sign, waiting for the universe to open up some sort of magical way, because they feel so connected to you. They feel like there must be fate involved with the two of you. Five of Cups. The King of Pentacles, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, and the Tower. And they keep thinking about this epiphany, this truth about how they feel came too late. It's like it came too late. So I didn't realize I loved you until it came too late. I didn't realize that this connection was as strong as it was. I thought it was just maybe a physical attraction until I experienced what I thought would take me to fulfillment, and it hasn't. But the collective is still telling this person that they have to stay where they are because of that investment that they've made. And they feel really frustrated with themselves in these late night thoughts overall, because they get filled with remorse and regret over what they no longer have. They have a lot to be grateful for in their life, but they don't focus on that. These late night thoughts don't focus on that anyway. They focus on you and on what they don't have, and they're missing you. Back of the deck is the Eight of Pentacles, and we have the Seven of Pentacles. For someone watching, this person could work a night job, like work a night shift, because they're talking about distractions at work, that these thoughts distract them at work. That's not for everyone, but they do work to distract themselves. And so there could be working a night job where they're up and awake and they're thinking about you and they're actively participating in those fantasies. The Seven of Pentacles here as well, there's the spark. And it's this the spark that starts to fuel the contemplation. So it's the fiery connection with you. It's almost like a trigger for them. This attraction that they have, the physical attraction, the desire that they feel sort of impulsive to come towards you. It's a trigger to reflect upon what they've invested in and whether they want to uproot some of that investment. But a lot of that seems to happen in the work realm, and so there could be a work, somebody watching this person could be working at night, or trying maybe under the guise of working at night perhaps. What are their late night thoughts? Please, of pile number 2. Dragonfly Spirit, truth transcends illusion. And the truth came out as this epiphany with the Tower and the Ace of Swords. Even though they've turned a blind eye to it in the past because they didn't want to face the consequences of that, the truth comes out in these late night thoughts. It transcends the illusion. And it makes them hungry for you, to be honest. But in order to quench that hunger, to quench that thirst for you, they're going to have to change directions, and they're going to have to be hungry for that success. And that's the problem, is they're afraid of permanent change. They're afraid of the upheaval that this connection could bring or represents. But the truth pierces through the darkness for them. They can't help but see it. We also have Giraffe Spirit, see the bigger picture, number 29. It came in the reverse because sometimes they try to avoid that epiphany. Sometimes they try to keep it in the physical realm. They try to keep it in the practical steps, but it does flow down to emotion. And they do try to avoid it. They try to avoid the emotion, but it does trickle down to emotion. It says, Giraffe Spirit, see the bigger picture. It also speaks to sort of our foresight and our intuition and being able to see past the illusion of the destruction, past the upheaval, past all of the consequences, and see the underlying order that could follow our revelations and our truth when we bring them to the surface. Back of the deck says, Dear Spirit, bring a gentle touch, number 18. And for me, Spirit just highlighted the difference between the deer and the giraffe. And this is how they were. It's like this young energy, this fawn who's afraid to tremble or to stumble into the light, afraid of the unknown. And that's what's brought them to where they're at today in their reflection of you. What are their late night thoughts, please? For pile number 2. The yang, so it starts with fire. The divine masculine, the Ace of Wands. And they fuel it. They fuel it with their own thought process. The only thing they don't do to keep that ember burning is the action, the practical steps. Because we have chop wood, reverse, clearance, making room for growth. And so they're not attempting to clear out you during these thought processes. They're attempting, this is a sort of an inspired energy from their higher self as to why all of these thoughts are always permeating around you, because they're being encouraged to make room for growth. But it's just easier for them to focus on the fantasy instead of actually doing all of the hard work. We have here milk and honey. And I always think about the 10 of Cups, and I think about family units. I think about little children. And they have so much fear of the unknown. But the truth is that luck is on their side, because I feel like this connection is very mutual. And perhaps they don't realize that, or they aren't acknowledging that in the present. Let's get a couple of message cards to see. What are their late night thoughts, please? Whoops, a pile number 2. I pretend that I don't care. Be very guarded. I just saw you should be here. I just saw it again. I don't want to cause chaos in your life right now. You came into my life and you changed everything. It's like they've never been the same, but they didn't realize that. There was like this epiphany, this stroke. It wasn't even a stroke of luck. What do you want from me? So they really are curious in these late night thoughts as to what sort of action does this Queen of Swords expect. They want to know. I also just saw my too late for a second chance. It's like they don't know what kind of action you want them to take, and so they're pausing until they get some sort of directive, perhaps from the Queen of Swords here. I have had conversations with you in my head, and I do feel that. I feel like there's a lot of fantasy surrounding their thoughts of you. It's like a back and forth communication. It's like they're having a full-fledged conversation. You should be here. It keeps coming out for you, pile 2. It's like you and I should be together. We should have made different decisions. We have a twin flame connection. And so they do feel like this connection has, and it probably has been this prompt to reflection, a prompt for healing. We need to talk. We need to iron things out. Back of the deck says, you'll never know how beautiful you are to me. Let's get another big deck here of messages from the Honest Love Tarot. What are some of their late night thoughts of pile number 2, please? We have unfinished business, the world. We started with the world. And just such wasted potential. They feel like there's just such wasted potential. I ruin everything I touch, the 7 of Swords. And they are afraid of being caught for their feelings. They're not being honest with themselves when it comes to the truth of this connection as well, because every time they think about taking action, they just tell themselves that they're too late, or that you don't feel the same, or that they ruin everything that they touch. What are their secret late night thoughts? I've kept so much of myself hidden from you, the High Priestess, but they know that this connection is deeper. There's something deeper at the root of this connection than what meets the eye, or what's being acknowledged. I'm still trying to make sense of things. And so I feel like they're being a little purposefully quiet. If there's no communication at this time, they're being purposefully quiet because they just haven't made sense of this connection yet, or they haven't figured out what actions they can take. Although I do feel like they know the consequences, that they're anticipating the consequences, negative consequences of taking action towards you, because they're saying I have too many responsibilities, and which is the fear of the unknown. But they are realizing now that they were the happiest they've ever been in the past when it came to this connection in you, and they're not experiencing that in the present moment. Let's get a charm bowl, please, for pile number 2. What was the very last late night thought that they had about pile 2 in the bowl with the tiny tarot? 8 of Pentacles. They were working. It feels like somebody's working nights. They were really, their thoughts were focused around how stuck they are and how they wish that they could take action. But this Knight of Swords, even he's looking at his riders, you know, with these backwards eyes, saying, how fast are we going? What are the consequences of riding this quickly? He's heading towards these trees, which is a symbol of stability, and they look like they're being wind blown. And so there's this, they were thinking a lot about the practical steps they would have to take, and how now may not be the time because of those consequences. But they were also frustrated with these suspension of this connection, or feeling stuck. We have the letter S, that was the star, and we have the friendship rune of protection. So they want to protect that friendship, so there could be a friendship here. We also have the strength rune, powerfully overcoming forces against you. We have peace reversed, and there's Aquarius energy. There's also a syringe here, so there could be a hospital nursing connection, medication connection, or addiction. There's like a codependency here. Now the peace sign is reversed, which means they can't move on. They're stuck. We have the clarity reversed. We also have love and beloved. When I see the word beloved, I think of the name Amy, because it does mean that. So that could be a significant name. We have a strawberry. I think of the number 17. We also have here the leaf of change. All right, pile 2, that's what I have for you today. Hope that it resonates with you. If it did, please drop your comment below for your chance to win a free reading with me. Be sure to hit your notification bell so that I can notify you if you're chosen the winner. I also have links below for Etsy for a personal reading if you feel called to, or for Instagram. But I hope that you come and visit me on another day at the Tarot Cottage, and I hope you have a great day. Hello, pile number 3. You were drawn to the peach poppy, or the pink poppy, and this is your reading. You're also drawn to the Eternal Embrace card, and this is your reading. Their late night thoughts of you, the person on your mind. What are their thoughts of you late at night? The Eternal Embrace card really talks about complementary opposites. It can really talk about the yin-yang energy inside of us, just two people that feel inexplicably connected. You can see that there's a bunch of flames flaring around the wholeness here of these two souls. There could be twin flame energy here, or this person could feel like you are their twin flame in some type of way. It really speaks to, they think about how different you are, and they muse about how the differences in you is what draws them to you. It's like you're so different, but that's why they feel drawn to you. It's like feeling like you are the opposite of them, and that's why you balance them out perfectly. So you could be really emotional and they could be really kind of cold sometimes. It's just, this complementary energy, and they think about how the two of you perfectly balance each other out. So let's take a look here and see. What are their late night thoughts, please, of pile number 3? We already have the 7 of Cups. So some of their late night thoughts are going to surround fantasy, not just thoughts, but sort of fantasies or situations that they have built up in their mind. And we use this as a way to purge out emotions that we've suppressed. We do this, we all do this. We all talk to ourselves sometimes. So this person could talk to you during these late night thoughts of you. They could sort of include you in it in some way, not in a physical sense, but just, you know, in their fantasies. They also are really kind of burdened in some of these thoughts about making you feel like some type of option, or making you feel like you were just another person in their life. They are worried about the impression that they left you, because they have come to realize that that was just, it was always them, it wasn't you. That's what I just heard. It wasn't you, it was me in that moment making you feel that way. I was afraid to show my truth. I was afraid to show my hand of cards. And so I feel like they almost have conversations with you where they tell you that in some of these late night thoughts. Like, if I had you in front of me right now, this is what I would say to you. That it was not you, it was me. And I'm sorry if I made you feel like an option. It haunts them, to be honest. Certain situations that the two of you went through in the past, they go over those scenarios again, and they act differently in those fantasies, in those scenarios, in these late night thoughts than they actually acted in the 3D. Here's the Knight of Cups. because they're really worried about what impression they left you of them. Here is the Justice. And if you look here, you can see the Queen of Cups. She's pretty angry. And the King of Cups, or the King of Cups or King of Hearts is sitting there with that cup just scared. And so there's this intimidation energy about reaching out to you, because some of these late night thoughts do inspire them to take some sort of action, but that makes them feel really vulnerable. It makes them feel, it's like they're scared of you. It's like they're scared of how they're going to be received. They're scared of your opinion of the situation or your revelations, because they know that they've changed and their awareness has evolved. So they wonder how you now have evolved and how you have changed your perception of the situation. And they're afraid to face that. They don't want to face disappointment. You have the Nine of Cups. Because there is this aspect of them cocooning or maintaining this vision of you or this version of you in their mind. And, you know, we all evolve and we all change and grow. And this person is operating off of who they think you are from the past. Whatever, you know, impression they were left with, that's what they're operating from. That's their launching pad. Even though you've evolved and changed in many, many ways, they like to keep that fantasy of you safe. And so these late night thoughts, when they feel sort of compelled to reach out to you, they pull back immediately, because they're trying to keep themselves sort of safe. It's like this is a beautiful trophy energy. There's a smugness surrounding their energy. And it's like they don't want to make you feel like you're an option, even though that's the impression that they're kind of leaving you with. And the truth is that it's not that you're an option, it's that they're trying to protect that vision, that fantasy, that desire of you. Because they do think about reaching out to you to create clarity, to let you know that they felt the same way, that they felt how you felt, that they knew that you felt really strongly towards them. Now, the rabbit in this Page of Pentacles always reminds me of the Page of Wands, which is fiery element. So sometimes their fantasies will move into a real fantasy where they get fulfilled, where they have their desires and their wishes granted. So in order to, sometimes this turmoil, this tumultuous energy of like, oh, I'm afraid to face them, gets switched over because it makes them feel uncomfortable to experience that fear or that worry, or even allow their thought processes to rest worrying about what your impression is. They move into a physical energy towards you, or physical desires, and they start to fantasize about that, about what would happen if I took action in that regard. Because the Nine of Cups is really talking about wishes that they want to see fulfilled and granted, but they have to bring things to light. They also think about the different games. You can see these people look like chess pieces. They think about the different games that you guys played. It's like perhaps not creating clarity. There was a lot of confusion in the past of this connection, and they really think about that and focus upon that. I'm just going to grab a different deck here to clarify with. Because they say that there was a lot of games that were played. And they're saying that that's equal. They're not saying that you're to blame for that. They're also saying that they were equal in that regard as well. King of Wands. And they do want to sort of protect the vision of you, or the connection, or their perception of this connection as being a twin flame or soulmate energy. But during these late night thoughts, it can only stay away from fire for so long. Because they do think about how different you are. You could come from different backgrounds. You could just be very different in general. But they think about how different you are, but how you complement each other and how much fun they used to have with you. There's a really strong sense of friendship here. And they do feel like kind of this guise of friendship got in the way of more progressing in your connection. High Priestess. And now it's like they're left alone with these truths that they're sitting upon. This temptation of you that's still sitting there. It's like the elephant is in the room, and it was always in the room, but they kept turning their back on that elephant because they keep suppressing how they truly feel even in the present. You have the Knight of Cups because they're too scared to face you. And there's the Seven of Swords. Back of the deck is the Ace of Pentacles and the Six of Cups. And the internal embrace, I'm not surprised to see the Six of Cups, because this is nostalgia. This is reflection. Someone that you perhaps came of age with. Someone that you maybe even grew into adulthood with, in a sense. There could be school connections here. But the Six of Cups is someone who, in these fantasies of you, in these late night thoughts, is very generous with you. Way more generous than they were in the past. Because that's what the Knight of Cups wants. He wants to shift your impression of him. If you come into the room with a negative impression, he wants to make sure that you leave that room with a good impression. And so there's these fantasies, these late night thoughts is their solution to how they treated you or didn't treat you in the past. Making you feel perhaps like an option. Not returning the amount of affection or emotional vulnerability that you showcased in the past as well. Because they still, the Seven of Swords is them, again, sometimes they'll turn their gaze back to fantasy to avoid the truth of the situation. It's like it makes them uncomfortable to be honest with themselves. And it makes them uncomfortable even more when that honesty leads them to want to be honest with you, because it's a huge risk to the ego, to the fantasy of the connection, to this. It's like they want to put this connection up on a shelf where it's safe, where it can't be touched, where even your opinion of them can't be touched. But once they reach out to you, they really worry that they're going to be privy now to how you truly feel, and they're worried that you don't feel the same way, and they're worried that your perspective has completely shifted and you're angry in some way. They are concerned about the anger of the Divine Feminine. What are their late night thoughts, please, of pile number 3? We have this Starfish Spirit, open to infinite possibilities. It was coming in the reversal because there's an aspect of arrogance, giving you the impression that they were arrogant, leaving you feeling like they were overlooking you in some sort of way. And we have the Bee Spirit, sweet results await. It's number 7. Now there's this pause energy with the 7s about pausing before action. They're thinking about the self-sacrifice they would have to make in order to come towards you. And the self-sacrifice is just that risk that they're taking, the sacrifice of their ego. But there's also this aspect of the sweet results that are awaiting them. If they were to sort of reach out to you, they still have this smug energy that permeates through some of the fear that this is an internal embrace and that there is nothing that can really touch the truth of that. That's why they want to protect it. We have miracles are endless. The Cow Spirit, it's number 15. I think about Capricorn. I think about entanglements and codependencies. What are your late night thoughts, please, of pile number 3? Fork in the road, number 13. The Death energy. And you know, the Death energy is all about the rebirths into new beginnings. Closing out chapters, opening up new chapters. And so they do feel that they're at this precipice of change, sitting upon the truth that they know to be true about how they feel. And so these late night thoughts just pack on that truth, which also sort of packs on the pressure to the Knight of Cups to actually take some sort of action. And this person is considering reaching out to you, but then they get sort of frozen by fear. They also think about how this connection is sort of a benchmark for them in life. Like you know, we always have these benchmarks in life where we look back at a certain situation, and there's certain people, situations that really define those moments, and you are a benchmark. They sometimes feel like there was a benchmark towards failure because they didn't take the action they should have. We have no place like home. And I think about this home being suspended with no foundation. So they're not feeling secure, they're not feeling solid in their position. And we have round and round. So all of these thoughts, first of all, there's a karmic loop here, but it's not like their late night thoughts of you has just began. This has been a situation that has been on a revolving scale, like they have been ruminating about you, perhaps even for years for someone watching. I'm going to pull some message cards here. See what their late night thoughts are. Pile number 1, please. Or number 3, sorry. I am ready for a fresh start. They are afraid to face you, though. I don't feel like they are 100% ready for a fresh start. I want to feed my curiosity when it comes to you. And that is really speaking to that Page of Pentacles. Even though it's the Page of Pentacles, we still have that rabbit It's a very curious creature, but also a little bit fearful. I want to marry you someday. But you have probably moved on, question mark. Do I think about you too much? So they've made a habit out of thinking about you late at night. It's like some people count sheep. This person thinks about you. I just saw more than friends. High school sweethearts. So you may have come of age with this person. I want you, I just can't. I loved you then, I loved you still, I always have, I always will. Back of the deck says, I am stuck in a complicated situation. And when I see this card with loved you then, loved you still, I always think of weddings. I always think about the little cards that they put out at weddings. So there could be marriages, so please take that as it resonates. I'm going to pull a few more little cards here. Message cards. What are their late night thoughts, please? Of pile number 3. I am so attracted to you. But finding out the truth crushed me. Having the epiphany of you, perhaps finding out that you had moved on into another connection, definitely made them feel insecure. Because there is an aspect here with the, again, with the justice. With the justice and the Six of Pentacles, they may be privy to, it's like they may not be able to take action towards you because you may have moved on into another connection. And that really bothered them. That really disappointed them. It was my fault, but I blamed you. And now they're kind of clawing back some of that blame. They want to make sure that you don't feel like you were to blame. I am not available. So take that as it resonates to your situation. You may be the one that's not available. Or it could be a double-sided connection. I wish that I had treated you better. So lots of remorse, lots of feelings of regret surrounding the impression that they left you. I want to feel that way again, and I know I was a distraction from your pain. Sometimes they do use this connection as a distraction. You may also find that you use thoughts of this person as a distraction in your own environment when you're feeling really dissatisfied. Back of the deck says, I left you before you could leave me. And ultimately, that's why they kept wanting to say it was you, it was me, it wasn't you, because they retreat or reject before they get rejected. Let's get a charm bowl for pile number 3, please. What was the very last late night thought that pile 3 had about their person, or pile 3's person had about them? Missed it. The Knight of Cups. We've seen the Knight of Cups a lot here. Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. This person could definitely be a water sign. We also have the Queen of Swords, so Gemini, Aquarius, Libra. Now, the last thought that they had about you late at night was surrounding how you would receive them. They thought about whether or not you would like to reach out to them and what the hesitation was there. They also thought about reaching out to you, but then their ego told them that was unrealistic. It's like it's not realistic for you to think that she's feeling the same or he's feeling the same. And so that thwarted, it's like they turned their backs on some of their emotions, so that because of that influence by the ego in that moment. But that's just their way of avoiding, you know, taking the path of least resistance. In the bowl, we have the letter S. We also have Gemini. We have live, laugh, and love, and we have crystal. We have the clear crystal here of crystal clear intentions, a cleansing energy. We do have I think of the 5 of Cups with the black dress. I think of mourning, so loss. We also have the connection that is imprinted on the heart, and we have the black whale. So someone who didn't express themselves in time and is now sort of drowning in their own emotion. We have the butterfly of transformation, someone who retreats to think about you, you know, is alone when they're thinking about you. And it's sort of, it's been a slow process. I feel like the transformation or the thoughts of you has been a very long process. I feel like they've thought about you in the evenings quite a bit. But I also feel like their level of awareness or their transformation when it comes to acknowledging this connection also took some time. We also have here the elephant with the trunk in the air. I think about India, I think about endurance, and I think about good luck. All right, pile 3, that's what I have for you today. I hope that it resonates with you. If it did, please drop that comment below so that I can enter you in for a chance to win a free reading with me. You can also check out my links for Etsy for a personal reading or for Instagram. But I hope that you come and visit me on another day at the Tarot Cottage, and I hope you have a great day.